there was no one that sat me down and said, you're kind of the caregiver. I mean, again, it was assumed and expected. I am the caregiver for my wife, Sarah, who was diagnosed in December of 2016, early December, with stage 4 metastatic adenocarcinoma. I found it puzzling and upsetting that nobody sat me down to discuss resources or present groups, any type of caregiving group, a patient advocacy group. I would say, sometimes we would come up against the experiences of the assumption that we were not a couple, that we were, sisters or friends. So I would say that in my experience as a caregiver, how kind of frustrating that is, and almost like would put me a bit on the defense when you're in these high stress moments of already dealing with like an avalanche of emotions and trying to navigate systems and understanding medical things. It's just like one extra layer that you don't need. It's this emotional challenge of taking care of her emotional needs, figuring out my own emotional needs, trying to be strong for everybody, but also dealing with my own like exhausted mind. And, it's like you're never fully, anyway, for me, like you're never fully at ease because you're kind of just waiting for the wrecking ball. So I think as a caregiver, that's the majority of my challenges. To me, probably that was like the most important and helpful, to have met people that were in similar situations. It didn't really matter to me, the same sex card, like that's almost just like the least important. But just to have people that were going through something similar that, on a Friday night, I could text or message someone and say, hey, do you know about this? Or, oh, have you ever gone through this? And I found that and continue to find that to be more helpful than, speaking to a doctor. These patient advocacy groups have all these wonderful resources to offer people, but there needs to be some type of a link between them and the medical institutions and cancer centers, because that's the first place where patients and caregivers land, right? The hospital, an oncologist's office, cancer center, that's where you start. So I was even a little surprised that there was such like dedication and awareness of, oh, well, let's include the caregivers on this. And I thought, wow, I mean, that, because, caregivers are funny, right? Like we think we're fine and we think we're okay. And it's like, oh, no, just everything for the, our loved one. And, you're quick to realize like, oh, we're not okay. And so I thought that was really special that and I'm sure there's other groups that do it. I'm just not as connected with, I can't have 100 groups in my life, but I thought that was really special about them, that they really centered in on that caregiver piece.